As many of you are probably aware by now, another Planned Parenthood has been bombed by what is presumably another right-wing fanatic. In Grand Chute, Wisconsin, a Planned Parenthood was bombed. Initial reports show that there's just minor superficial damage on the outside. People investigating have said that the bomb was homemade, as we would expect. It was made out of plastic and had some incendiary potential chemicals, meaning that it was most likely intended to burst into flames and burn the place down maybe. But it did also explode, but this definitely shows that it's very amateurish. Now, Terry Hyuk, the president and CEO of Planned Parenthood Wisconsin, gave this public statement. Our primary concern today, as always, is our patients, staff, and volunteers. Women deserve safe and compassionate care, and we are proud to provide it. Rest assured, our doors will remain open for the thousands of women who rely on Planned Parenthood of Wisconsin each year for high-quality health care. Immediately following the bombing, Rick Santorum, a big name in the right-wing and conservative movement, running for head of the Republican Party, had this to say concerning the bombing. While we can and should work to defund Planned Parenthood and push back against government mandates that force Americans and religious institutions to violate their faith, violence against our fellow citizens has no place in a freedom-loving America. Maybe it's just me because I'm a foreigner, but exactly who's forced to violate their faith? It wouldn't be the abortion doctors or the nurses or the medical staff that works at Planned Parenthood. Because if they didn't want to do that, then they wouldn't work there. I'm just not sure it is that who exactly is being forced to violate their faith. And while we're on it, what religious institutions are being forced? Are there some religious hospitals that are being forced to provide abortions when they don't want to? If that was the case, I wouldn't go to a religious hospital. I would be very suspicious of a place that's supposed to provide adequate scientific medical care that didn't believe in evolution. Now, it's things like this that make me glad that I live in Canada. If you even try stuff like that here, you're instantly told to shut up and get back in the corner. And I'm very glad that we don't have to put up with stuff like that here. Now, as to be expected, the media is already minimizing this incident. The conservative media is already coming out saying, oh, this is a lone wolf attack, this is just one lone person who did it, there's no pattern, and conservatives aren't terrorists, this isn't right-wing terrorism or anything like that whatsoever. And they're going out of their way saying it was a homemade bomb, so that's not a big deal. And nobody died, so it's not a big deal. Well, actually, it is an act of terrorism. It is an intended act of violence for a social or political agenda. That is the definition of terrorism. And once again, the right wing just completely whitewash every bit of violence they do, every act of terrorism that they're responsible for. Now, aside from the conservative media, the right-wing media, just blatantly whitewashing this, the liberal media is going to do the same thing too. About 3/4 of the liberal media is not going to mention the word terrorism. It is going to just flat out refuse to say the word, just like the entire conservative media. 25% of the liberal media will ask, is this terrorism? Does this count as terrorism? But they won't actually say it. They'll ask the question, but they'll never actually come right out and say what needs to be said. The fact is, this is not an isolated incident. There's been 114 violent acts against abortion providers in 2011. There's been 59,000 acts of violence at U.S. abortion clinics. Clearly, there's a very strong history of right-wing violence against abortion clinics, places where women need to go to get safe, competent medical care. It's just one more thing on the list of the conservative war against women. To them, women don't even deserve the proper health care that they need for reproductive purposes. This is just so very typical. Forcing a woman to be pregnant is a form of enslavement. I don't think people understand that. I don't think the right wing understands that. Women need access to abortions, and they need access to competent reproductive medical care, something the right wing would like to deny them. But then again, the right wing likes to deny health care to a lot of people.